must be going home before dark. Dark. Dark.
What you just heard was a musical interpretation of Le Guin's Left Hand of Darkness by artist Ray Gachet. This is just one example of the many different ways readers can understand the narrative. John Pennington's article, Exorcising Gender, Resisting Readers in Ursula K. Le Guin's Left Hand of Darkness, examines the relationship between the way Le Guin presents the story and the way we, as members of the audience, read it. Many literary critics have frowned upon Le Guin's resistance to the invention of new words to fit her androgynous world. However, Pennington argues that it is Le Guin's almost paradoxical inclusion of both binary gender vocabulary and androgyny that makes the novel so interesting to read. Le Guin once wrote that she escaped maledom by inventing the androgynes of Left Hand of Darkness. However, many critics believe that the world of Guin that Le Guin created doesn't really solve the problem of maledom at all. These critics argue that Le Guin turns her back on opportunities science fiction offers for political experimentation, and ask why she can't invent new words to depict accurately her version of the androgyne. Pennington, while recognizing these critiques, chooses to commend Le Guin's ambition. He asserts that Le Guin's simultaneous inclusion of traditional gender patterns that are familiar to readers and foreign concepts of androgyny is a risky undertaking, but it's well worth the payoff. Pennington argues that science fiction itself is ultimately oxymoronic, because it must be about an understandable and relatable, yet completely fictional world. As Le Guin comments in the preface to Left Hand of Darkness, it is words that make the trouble and confusion. Pennington believes that although Le Guin successfully eliminated the concept of gender from Guin, she may be unable to do so in the minds of her readers because of her word choice. Instead, Le Guin's writing forces us to resist a gendered reading of the narrative. Le Guin accomplishes this, Pennington says, by constantly changing the narration. At one point, we're looking through the eyes of Genli, who understands the Guthinian world only slightly more than we do. Genli provides what Pennington calls an androcentric interpretation of Guin. Then we hear from Estraven, a native to Guin, who's unaffected by gender in theory, but obviously still aware on some level of the masculine and feminine realms being different. Estraven is genderless, but he's not sexless, which makes the remaining chapters of the book interesting to read. As we'll see this week, Genli has to work to see Estraven for what he really is, and not force him into categories that don't exist on Guin. Feminist critics are agitated by Estraven's character because it's in his most feminine moments that Genli sees him as disgusting or untrustworthy. In a sense, through Estraven, femininity becomes a sort of otherness, an anomaly of everyday life or a glitch in the system. When Estraven is straightforwardly masculine, Genli is most comfortable around him. But when his true androgyny becomes apparent, Genli is instantly out of place. The switching back and forth causes us to be continuously unsettled, and this mirrors the journey of Genli himself. However, Genli is forced to assimilate, to leave behind his own ideas of what a male or female is, or what a human is for that matter, so we as readers must do so also. While I think that Pennington makes some compelling arguments, I feel he misses one essential point. What if readers are not able to become androgynous in order to read the novel? If readers are unable to set aside their own notions of gender, Pennington's entire argument falls apart. He even admits that reading the novel as both a male and a female is probably an impossibility. Pennington says that Left Hand of Darkness tempts us to misread it through our gendered eyes, and reminds us of our limited perspectives. Le Guin didn't intend for Left Hand of Darkness to be read as a feminist text. Therefore, many of the feminist critics who pick apart Le Guin's choices are dissatisfied with the way femininity is presented in the novel. Pennington conceives that the book is oxymoronic. It addresses gender issues while incorporating gender stereotypes into the text, but he argues that this is, ultimately, for the benefit of the reader.